Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Your host, the Raven here, bringing you some escapist action. Today, we're gonna do a whole day of escaping. Let me flush some stuff down the toilet real quick. I always use other people's toilets to flush my stuff because you don't want to get caught. If the toilet plugs up and the officer sees it, comes in there, and there's some contraband items, you will be busted. So I just plug up other people's toilets to stop their stuff up. And plus, I like to keep my room clean. It's pretty funny if you just leave it running and like the whole floor gets covered with water. So anyway, this today we're gonna escape from Fort Bamford. This is the optional prison inside the Escapist base content. You know, if you haven't bought the DLCs, well, I think you have to at least bought it early access, and this is the one rare time that I did buy an early access game. It was like a day before release or something like that. So it came with Fort Bamford. After I beat the original 6, you know, I held off on this one because, you know, it you have to spend a lot of time and effort. Escaping the prisons do take effort, which is why I like this game. Besides the cute pseudo prison life behavior of the guards and inmates, you know, the charm of escaping, and it takes a stressful toll. So anyway, and anytime you escape a jail, it's always wise to get a job, and I worked that job even on the day of escape, as you can see that I'm doing now. Because one thing about it, if you get caught escaping, they undig your tunnels, they take away all your posters and other equipment that you've used or dug, or, you know, all your contraband items. All that stuff gets taken away. But what doesn't get taken away is the amount of money you've earned, you know, during the time you spent in the jail. So me, I go to work. Working is the most surefire way to get paid. You can take jobs from other inmates, but most of the time though, it's even worse, because even if a particular mission is high paying, you'll wind up taking so long to accomplish it for some reason. Like they might ask for something simple like, you know, a bar of soap or something, and then you think, okay, well, that's pretty easy. So you search all the desks, and guess what? There is no bar of soap, and there won't be any soap until, you know, like maybe 3 days later or something. You can't afford that. So your main focus is to just work, go to work. I mean, even though you're going to escape the prison eventually, I mean, that's why you're playing the game. It pays to work, and it pays to keep a low profile while you're doing what you do. So anyway, these guys got contraband in their desk. I stole that file out of one desk just because, for the hell of it. And one thing I would like to say about the items, each prison, they have a rate of items that seem to show up more in certain prisons than others. Like in Fort Bamford, files seemed like you can find a file every day, and like as you can see, there's 2 of them in the desk already. And sheet metal seems like Fort Bamford, like every time I check the desk, there'll be sheet metal or a file. So some prisons, some items are easier to get. Some prisons, other items, you know, the same items may not be so easier to get. So you got to kind of check the desk, you know, not only just for your looting purposes for escape, but also to try to get a feel of what items have, you know, more of a chance of appearing. That saves you money in the long run, because you'll be less tempted to buy items off the inmates, which is another thing I try to refrain from doing. The most thing I ever buy in any prison is like duct tape, because you need it for a lot of the tools, and, you know, if you're crafting a weapon or if you're crafting something for escape, some kind of tool, you're gonna need duct tape. If you're gonna craft armor for yourself, you're gonna need duct tape. So, but yeah, and duct tape is really cheap, usually about $30. As long as you ain't pissed the guy off, if you you have a good, or at least average reputation with that inmate. And working out is important. Always keep your stats up, because over time your stats do degrade. That also changes from prison to prison. Some prisons you can get up to 100 in strength and speed, and then by afternoon you're down to like 70. You know, so it's a lot of work. And in some prisons, you last, your stats last a lot longer. So, you just have to get to know the prison. Another tip: never ever keep contraband in your desk, no matter what. Um, it just gets you caught. I mean, there's all there is to it. I mean, it's a nice trap because the desk is convenient. You can open it quickly. It has a lot of space, and you may think to yourself, well, all I have to do is just not, have anything in there when the cops come. But sooner or later, trust me, you're gonna mess up and you're gonna get caught if you do put contraband items in your desk. This is my favorite free time music of all the prisons, by the way. Shankton State Pen and this Fort Bamford have this particular song selection for their free time. It's my favorite of the whole game. So anyway, just making sure we're pumped. If you don't see a symbol coming out of your body, like the weight symbol or the little speed symbol, that means you're at maximum and you're wasting your time by going any further on the treadmill. Although sometimes I go a little bit past it just to make sure, just to be on the safe side. Also, when it comes to doing jobs, the prisoners, your fellow prisoners, give you tasks to do, and they range between finding an item, which is either contraband or non-contraband, beating up an officer, or starting a fight with another inmate. I tend to avoid the officer fight, beating up an officer and beating up an inmate, because beating up an inmate, every time you do something like that and you get caught by the guards, you get beaten and sent to the hospital. In the hospital, they take away all contraband items and weapons, which is your hard-earned armor and your baseball bat or your spike bat or whatever weapon of your choice, that gets taken away. You also lose valuable cash. So it's like, yeah, you earn $27 for beating up this guy, or you earn, $15 for starting a fight, but then they took 50 from you because you went to the infirmary. So a lot of times it's not worth it. The only time I'll accept beating up a guard quest from another inmate is if I have plans to beat up a guard already, because you need keys. A lot of prisons, keys are very important for your escape. As you can see in the cafeteria item behind that orange door in the bottom, there's a shiny chest or whatever. Those are okay, but when I first played the Escapists, I would always go for those because I wanted to see what was in them. But now it's like, no, just escape, because sometimes it's just not worth the effort to get to them. You might break in or dig a tunnel or something to get there, and it'll just be, a file or, something you could have gotten anyway, So this guy has a file on him. So Fort Bamford is pretty common to find files just laying around everywhere. And also, when it comes, also another thing I don't do or try not to do is look for contraband items for the inmates. Like somebody will say, I need, sleeping pills, or I need duct tape or foil or something like that. And there's two reasons why I don't accept those type of quests. Number one, contraband items get you caught. You get beat up, they get taken away. It can foil your other plans. So I don't want to lose. I spent a week digging a tunnel underneath a fence, and this guy wants me to get some contraband or something, and I get caught and I lose all my progress just because of that incident. I don't want that to happen. So that's one reason. The second reason is I need those contraband materials for my escape. If I find a roll of duct tape, I'm not going to give it to you. I'm going to use it for myself so I can escape. Why would I hunt high and low for a contraband pouch, when I need a contraband pouch so I can sneak goods through the metal detectors myself, So that's just another quest I don't pick up. If you work a job, you'll make enough money, period. Now see, I got caught looking in this desk. Now see, most of the time I try to avoid officer fights, but this time it's like, no, he's chasing me around and it's escape day. So anyway, Officer Martin just happens to have the staff key, which is the red key. Also crucial for escaping, but I already made copies of a red key before, but I didn't think I got it from him though. So anyway, I try to keep it cool, but if something happens, something happens. Once again, the awesome music that I enjoy so much. And I don't know why I went back in this desk, but sometimes I tend to be pretty stubborn. And this is another reason why I don't fight officers, because if they see you, they'll try to fight you again. And a lot of the inmates that give the quest are beating up an officer. It's like, okay, but now when I go to a lineup, this officer trying to whoop my butt. So anyway, after the second time he, harassed me, it's time to put a little extra whooping on him. So I take his clothes and flush it down the toilet. I do that whenever a particular inmate or a particular guard gets on my nerves too much. That's the consequence, So as you can see, you gotta go through the prison naked until you can find another uniform. I saw one guard go inside the cleaning area, the cleaning workplace area, to get another uniform. So I thought that's where they always went, but apparently not. But they'll show up eventually with, their clothes back on or whatever. Now, talking about escaping, if you look to my left, you'll see that I have replaced some of the wall chunks with posters. Posters are hands down the best item to use if you're gonna chisel through a wall. Also, with these two walls, I recommend chiseling from the inside of the cells, because you're a lot less likely to be seen. You have more time to get it done faster. So, and those are easy actually, those two walls. The hard one is the one leading towards the cafeteria. The wall there is like, it was very touch and go to get that wall chipped out. So anyway, it's time for the final roll call. This is the most important roll call, period. Like, if you don't see the morning one and the afternoon one, you can miss, especially if you follow my advice to not have contraband in your desk don't ever have it in your desk. If you need to stash lots of contraband, dig a tunnel and put it in there. As you can see, they're gonna check my cell tonight, and that's why, because new players, they get so eager, like, oh, I'm gonna escape tonight. You're so full of excitement and nervous energy that you just want to go as soon as it's time. But if you don't pay attention to that check, you don't know, and you'll get to doing something and they'll come there and catch you. Boom. See, the guy comes in there, he checks, he takes off the sheets off the cell. And usually sometimes they come early, but always be prepared that they might come late. Sometimes it takes them almost an hour to get to your cell. So to be on the safe side, don't do anything until it's at least, I would say, 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, in the morning, just to be on the safe side, to make sure they have checked your cell. So anyway, what we need for escape is plastic. You need a plastic staff key. I have gate cutters, a contraband pouch to get out, get this stuff out without alerting the guards. And I have a guard uniform, so I could be outside my cell at night without being immediately, arrested or whatever. So make sure you have a uniform and a red staff key. That's what I use for my escape. There's always multiple ways to break out of a prison, I believe. If you can't physically break out, you can take over the prison. I know that much. So anyway, beat this dude down, because other inmates inexplicably just snitch on you, and I hate that. And it's like, why in the world would you snitch? But I think that also helped me though, because all the guards are rushing over there to check that cell, and obviously I just snuck out through that hallway. Contraband pouch breaks, and with the staff key, I'm able to get through the red door and make it to the outer fence. And once you're at the outer fence, hit them up with them cutters, which I didn't know at the time that I would be using cutters. So I only made the lightweight cutters. I didn't make the sturdy cutters, which is my favorite item in the game. For some reason, I just like sturdy cutters. But anyway, also never get so involved in what you're doing that you don't take time to look around. But once you hit that door, boom, you get out of there. So anyway, that's my Fort Bamford escape. For all other tips, tricks, questions, just hit me up in the comment section below. I'm your host, The Raven. I appreciate you watching. If you escaped, do you like the Escapists? If you've escaped, let me know. Send a link to your videos. I love checking out other people's content, see what they got. I thank you for watching once again. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a great day.